What are the biggest challenges of solving the climate change crisis? Why is intergovernmental cooperation so difficult?
So the climate change crisis is what experts call a wicked or even a super wicked problem, meaning it has many sort of interdependent variables at play. It's hard to establish cause and effect sometimes, and perhaps the ones that cause the crisis are not necessarily best equipped to also solve the crisis, right? I think also the difference between climate change and COVID, as just discussed, was that COVID was immediately sort of visible, tangible. It had a very short-term impact. People are essentially afraid of becoming very ill or even losing their lives, right? The problem with climate change is that we read about it every day and it's getting worse. But most people think, well, 20, 30, 50 years from now, why should I stop kind of driving my car or eating a steak? Because I don't directly see the consequences today. And I think politically, therefore, it is also hard to implement drastic measures because it won't make you very popular with the electorate. I would say most major policy challenges in today's world require intergovernmental or even cross-sectoral collaboration where government, business, and the non-profit sector and actually individual citizens really collaborate and kind of leverage their respective strengths to address these major issues like climate change, but also pandemics and other major policy challenges. Why is it so difficult? Well, I think because the way in which we designed bureaucracies in the previous century that are still very dominant as kind of organizational principle in our public sector is that they are very much sort of siloed, and accountability, budget management is very much tied to a specific policy sort of area or column or sector. It's either like healthcare, or it's housing, or it's energy, or it's security, or it's welfare. And of course, increasingly, we see that all these areas are highly interconnected. And citizens actually would like governments to operate a more holistic, so-called whole of government way, and actually look at the demands and challenges and then organize their response sort of around that, right? So more of a, you could say, demand-driven way of solving policy issues rather than a kind of supply-driven way. Well, this is the organization we have. This is our budget. This is the responsible boss, often called the director general, and he or she has to solve the issue. So I think as long as we do not sort of step away from those narrow-minded ideas about accountability, responsibility, and also the ways in which performance is measured and rewarded, which is still highly individualistic, there are not that many incentives, frankly, not that many organizational political incentives for governments and also non-governmental actors to collaborate. But I would say, to end on a positive note, I think the COVID crisis has shown that it can be done. So, in a short period of time, we saw a lot of sort of new ways, unimaginable ways of collaboration and regulation that we had never seen before, even in highly, I would say, liberal democratic societies where governments exercised a lot of power and citizens kind of accepted it.